President Cyril Ramaphosa is visiting Nigeria for the first time in his capacity as president. President Ramaphosa is expected to meet his counterpart, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, tomorrow. Well, it's expected that discussions between both leaders will be aimed at bolstering economic ties among two of Africa's largest economies, despite diplomatic ties having been strained recently. Former President Jacob Zuma visited the country back in 2016 to discuss issues relating to the treatment of South African businesses in Nigeria, different positions on a number of international issues, as well as complaints by Nigerian firms in South Africa on the lack of investment opportunities. Well, for more on that first working visit by President Cyril Ramaphosa since taking visit to Nigeria, that is, we join now on the line by President Ramaphosa's spokesperson, that's Khusela Diko. Good afternoon, Khusela. Thank you for your time on the SABC News Desk.
Good afternoon, Kashi, and thank you so much for inviting us. Let me greet your viewers as well.
Khusela, leaders of two of Africa's powerhouses coming together this week. Tell us what will be the major thrust of this meeting. It's going to be a real test of relations, as we know that these two countries have to work closely together for many Pan-African initiatives on the cards to get started and move the continent forward.
Yes, indeed, Kirshni. As you rightly say, South Africa and Nigeria are two very large, very strong industrialized economies on the African continent. So President Ramaphosa is taking a working visit to Nigeria, where he is seeking to solidify, consolidate the very cordial relations that we currently share with the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You will know that we have a binational commission with Nigeria, which is chaired by the two heads of state, which oversees the implementation of agreements that we have signed between our two countries. But also, Kirsten, if I may add that this visit to Nigeria is part of a multi-country stop, if you may, because from Nigeria, the President will be proceeding to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, as well as the United Arab Emirates. I think South Africans would like to know that when the President visits Saudi Arabia, one of the key issues he wants to raise is, issues around crude oil prices. Saudi Arabia is, supplies almost 47% of South Africa's crude oil. And given the current crunch that we have been experiencing, it's an important discussion. But overall, the entire trip focused on what the President has termed, the primary focus of this administration, which is about regional economic integration, intra-African trade, and investment for the sake of job creation as well as economic development.
Khusela, when it comes to Nigeria-South African relations or ties, a few incidents come to mind chiefly. MTN had to agree to pay a 1.7 billion rand cash fine. Then the Nigerian church collapse a few years ago. South Africa refrained from finger-pointing, not wanting to scupper relations. And on a continental level, they've also disagreed before on the post-election crisis in Court of War. And then Nigeria's refusal, we remember, to back South Africa during the 2012 election of former AU chairperson Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, and that of course strained relations even further. Is there a case right now to try and improve these relations at this point?
Well, I think that's at the heart of the visit. President Ramaphosa would have loved, for example, that his very first outgoing state visit would have been to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the reason the President would have wanted that, unfortunately, due to clashes of diaries, we couldn't arrange that, hence the working visit. But why he felt was firstly to demonstrate the very high regard that South Africa holds, Nigeria as well as African countries in general. But secondly, to look at this issue of relations. I mean, you mentioned just the company. You will know that President Ramaphosa signed the African Continental Free Trade Agreement when he was in Mauritania a week or so ago. And Nigeria has not yet signed that agreement, but it's really seeking to bring together, these continental economic powerhouses in terms of our economy and driving intra-African trade. So, but sorry, Krishna, if I can just add one point, that at the core of South Africa's foreign policy has always been that even countries of South Africa that operate in other countries on the African continent need to do so in the same manner that they would in our country. observing the laws of those particular countries, but also driving the development agenda that South Africa expects of them. So we have no doubt some of those issues will come up in the discussions with Nigeria, and the president will tackle those ones with the intention to ensure that we improve relations between our countries. It's a call that other African leaders have also made, saying that South Africa and Nigeria need to cooperate, for the betterment of the continent as a whole.
Khusela, before I let you go, there is a photograph doing its rounds right here in the country with President Ramaphosa kneeling down before King of the Amazulu, Goodwill Zwelithini, recently, and it has created a bit of a stir and some debate here. Can you just contextualize that picture for us, and we just want to garner your initial reaction to that one?
Thank you, Krishna. I'll be very happy to. That picture is mischief of the highest order. If I could just say at the very onset that the context in which it's presented is totally incorrect. It's a picture from November 2017. So it has nothing to do with the discussions that President Ramaphosa had with King Goodwill Zwelithini over the weekend. But if you look at the picture as well, the president is outraged by the insinuations that have been created around it. He is offering to President Goodwill Zwelithini a book that he's very proud of, that he has written. And he takes a positional posture where he comes close to the king who's seated to show him the book. So we reject with the contempt they deserve those insinuations that the president is groveling. And to be honest, the president has no problems with cultural norms where they are expected, but this definitely was not the case in this instance. Hence, we're saying it's mischief of the highest order, and it is thus rejected.
Thank you, Khusela. Always a pleasure having you on the SABC's news desk. That's Khusela Diko, President Cyril Ramaphosa spokesperson, joining us on the line there.
Now, the newly elected ANC chair